Welcome to the Smart Connector podcast. I hope you're well, and thank you for tuning in again to another episode. I have such an exciting guest for you tonight. Welcome, Carl Kirchhoff.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, Carl is co founder and managing director of Turnbull, which is an AI driven app for starters and SMEs who want to facilitate online trade at a lower cost. And he's also a mentor at the biggest specialist accelerator program in Europe for media related tech founders. And he helps them develop their strategies, pitch decks, stories, financial modeling, corporate structures, and documents. So, this is actually Carl's 60th startup, which is incredible that he's been involved in either as a founder, an investor, a mentor, or advisor across Europe, the US, Asia, and of course here in the UK. So, really am honored to have you here with us tonight, Carl. And I can't wait to get into the topic, which is B2B marketing and the power of AI. So, yeah, great to have you here.
Thank you. No, it's exciting, and I'm very excited to be here tonight and talk a little bit about what I've done in the past and what I'm up to with Turnbull.app.
Absolutely. So, what I'd really love to start with, Carl, if it's okay with you, is just hearing about your 60 projects that you've been involved in, 60 startups. You have the most phenomenal experience, and you've worked in a sort of multidisciplinary way because you've had your own businesses, you've been an investor, you've helped other founders get off the ground. And so you have such a wealth of wisdom. And I've got a lot of startups in my audience as well. So, first of all, love to hear about the lessons that you've learned over those many, many, many years of experience.
I learned a lot, and I'm a little older than probably any startup founder. I'm already 55, and I'm still excited about startups. I made many, many mistakes, and I think after all those years, it's a pleasure to give this back to young founders, which I'm mentoring, and I'm also part of the mentor program from Imperial College, and it's always fascinating to see those great ideas coming from those young founders. Which then I have to confront with reality. And I think that's an interesting match as soon as they start talking about their exciting ideas and they realize reality is unfortunately sometimes very different.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't want to be the person that is putting out their fire, right? Just pouring a great big bucket of cold water on all that lovely enthusiasm. So, how do you actually manage to hold the line between injecting that dose of realism and keeping their enthusiasm alight?
I'm a person who is, I think, excited about many, many things. I'm constantly learning. I'm learning about AI for 12 years. I'm learning about fintech. I'm learning about everything. I'm just fascinated about technology. And I think becoming a founder and taking this step forward to become a founder and then raise money and build a business is already exciting enough. And I think chapeau to everyone who does it and has an idea and then start executing. So I'm very positive, and I think everyone who knows me, I'm very positive in general. There's always more opportunities in challenges than challenges in opportunities. But of course, if someone completely misses the opportunity and the reality, which doesn't match, right? If I had, for example, a fantastic hackathon at Imperial College, and someone had a fantastic idea of a fintech company, and I
Mhm.
told them, look, you need an FCA license, and this FCA license will take probably 3 years to obtain. So you better raise a lot of money before you actually start business. And they were very grateful to hear those kind of insights, which I went through myself.
Well, yes, that's right, because you always have to make sacrifices in terms of either time or money in order to get the knowledge that you need, right? Because nobody comes into this any new business with all the knowledge that they need. So it's mentors really that give you that, actually manage to close the gap and tell you, look, here's the shortcut. This is what you need. And that is why it's so valuable, right? To have people around with experience like yours.
100%. And to be a mentor is like a father, and yeah, it's something which you both sides have to learn. Both sides have to agree that this is a special relationship. Yeah, I was a consultant before, and all my clients, they can either take my advice or just leave it. At this time, they were just paying me, and I couldn't care less. Now, with the mentor position, it's different. I try to choose the mentees as much as I can, believing they take something of my advice from all the mistakes that I made in the past.
Yeah, yeah, that's fantastic. And of course, most startups today are tech startups, really, aren't I mean, obviously, people start all sorts of businesses, but the innovators of the world, they're tech founders, aren't they? Would you agree with that?
100% agree, and that's one of the reasons why I built Turnbull, that app, because we really believe in solving the problems of the world collectively. You just don't
Mhm.
know where they are and who can solve those problems together with. So um, that's my deepest belief. Yeah, there is a solution to any problem. You just need to know who and how can solve this problem.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I love tech businesses. I love to know what's kind of going on, all the innovation that is happening is just incredible, and it's moving so fast, isn't it? That's the thing about it. It's changing every day.
100%. And here in the UK, in particularly in London, you just imagine there is 28,000 startups every year just in London alone,
Yeah.
which is fascinating. But
Mhm.
I used to live in Asia as well, in Singapore and in Kuala Lumpur, and it's mind blowing the leapfrog of technology which they do in those territories.
Yeah, and technology is really behind making our world a better place, isn't it? There's this concept of creative destruction, which I love. And that is, I mean, I'm sure that you know what that is, Carl, but maybe some of our viewers and listeners don't. But that is really that kind of roller coaster of consistent innovation where things that are outdated just kind of fade away and they're just replaced and it just goes on and on and on. And the pace of change has definitely speeded up, hasn't it, over the last, 10 or 15 years or whatever. But it's a force for the good, isn't it? I think on the whole, obviously there are people that are frightened of change and frightened of tech, and there's all this talk about how AI is sinister and all of that kind of thing. I mean, look, everything can be used for good or bad purposes, but generally, the relentless rise of tech is a force for the good. At least that's what I think. What do you think, Carl?
100%. I mean, we all remember Cambridge Analytica, which was, let's say, the bad side of leveraging technology. And I think there is always a good side, and I totally agree with you. There is definitely more white than black, and you cannot just prevent people who would like to leverage this technology in a negative way. But I think from all my experience, the vast majority of founders is really looking to solve problems, which we all face, and that's
Yeah.
exciting and motivating.
Exactly. So let's go on and talk about Turnbull because I've been experimenting with it myself. I think it's a fantastic app and a fantastic platform.
Thank you.
So where did you get the idea for this from?
Well, we all know LinkedIn and other social media networks, and I think there is many frustrations around it, because at the end, this is not a business platform. It is a social media platform. The majority of revenues come from HR managers from corporations. So anything related to HR, hiring people, on the one hand side, and then on the other side, yeah, I'm looking for a new job, is is something which works extremely well. But us entrepreneurs, we need a platform to do business. At the end, yeah, LinkedIn is about content creation, and we are about business creation. I don't need another job because I already have at least 5 different jobs. So you as an entrepreneur, yeah, you don't need another job. You need business opportunities. You need to find the right partner. You need to
Yeah.
find the right customer, and so on and so on. And we believe with Turnbull, there is a shortcut to those solutions.
Yeah, and, we've been talking about this a lot, haven't we, Carl? Because, we met up the other day in London. We spent a bit of time, looking at the app today and so on.
Mhm.
And, we were talking about, of course, if a lot of founders are using technology, if they have a technology background, they're not necessarily going to be content creators. It's not gonna be the thing that really turns their crank, if you like. It's 'cause it's just a different, it's a different operating system, let's just say, that, creators, content creators and technical people, have running, right? So that is really, that is puts them on the back foot, doesn't it, when it comes to any of the social media platforms, because it's not really their thing. Not what they wanna do. They don't wanna be out there just, you know, becoming celebrities
Right.
and shining, really. They're more kind of backroom people that they just wanna do exciting, cool stuff.
Exactly.
Um,
And they shouldn't do it, in fact, right?
yeah.
Waste of their resources, because they are able to solve problems, but they
Mhm.
got distracted of solving those problems because they still need to think about fundraising. They need to do marketing. They need to do so many other things. And even I, after so many startups, it's a time consuming effort, and it's a 24/7 job. If you consider you're a young founder and you're a deep tech founder in AI, in fintech, in cyber tech, health tech, you name it, yeah, it's probably double the effort and double the confusion how to actually manage and run a company. So that's why we built Turnbull, to help those guys, particularly with short tracks and getting faster to solutions, faster to customers, faster to suppliers, faster to partners.
Exactly. So, just for people that don't actually know this app, it's like a kind of business matchmaker, isn't it, really? So it's an AI-driven business matchmaking tool, a platform, really, isn't it, Carl?
It is. Some people call it Tinder for business.
Oh,
Of
Tinder
course,
for business, I like that.
we cannot use that word, but at the end,
No.
it is what it comes down to. It's really Tinder for business.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's, I guess it is really, yes, yes, in a way. I mean, obviously, it doesn't look like Tinder, you don't swipe and, it's not quite the
It's a little
same,
bit
but
more sophisticated, yes.
yes, the idea is certainly very, very similar really, and that it is a matchmaker, which of course,
Right.
the social media platforms don't do. They just leave it up to the individual users to reach out. And I think this is something that so many of my clients struggle with because, they're busy running their own businesses, serving their clients, trying to, earn enough money to pay the bills and all the
Right.
rest of it, get a bit of a profile so that they attract the right people, but it stops there. Then they have to do the work in terms of actually reaching out to people or, they've it's a lot of it is just hassle, sorry, hustle, right? And, when it's just down to you, it's a painful and soul-destroying experience having to wake up and hustle every day. So, I personally, love these shortcuts. I've got a shortcut myself, which is not I mean, completely different to yours. It's not a business matchmaking system by any means, but I love the use of tech in terms of just taking the heavy lifting off your shoulders of all of that painful, time consuming stuff that really takes our eye off the ball, doesn't it? In terms of actually growing our businesses and, creating a world-class service for our clients.
100%. And I studied marketing, ended up in technology with zeros and ones. Everything is logic. At the end, you have to bear in mind, if everything is logic, then there is an algorithm behind it, yeah, which connects the dot in a logic way, and you don't need to put around a ribbon around your product, whatever. At the end, there are some parameters which count towards a business transaction, and
Mhm.
it's not about marketing. Marketing is not logic, and I think many deep tech founders, I hope, at least I hope so, sympathize with that. Yeah, saying this whole social media is not logic. I need to do it. It's a must have because I need clients, I need money, I need this. But at the end, it's completely against their human nature to do something which is illogic. So that's the reason why we built for 2 years now
Yeah.
Turnbull, which is all based on logic. But however, when I found my, let's say, the idea and then the initial uh, platform, I faced so many challenges in terms of data quality from the company's house and many other data resources. And this alone took me and my team a long time to really structure first the data. And everyone knows the company's house information is something which yeah, works to a certain degree. Now I need to ask, like anyone else, to fill in a profile. And Jane, you just did it. So
Mhm.
it should be as intuitive as possible, but there's always space for improvement. And I hope I will get lots of good feedback and negative feedback so that we can improve the user experience.
Yeah, and I mean, with any of these products, it's, you know, it's a continual iterative process, isn't it? Because, you know, you get it to a certain prototype that is good enough, and then, of course, you want to just keep on improving it and making it better and better, and, you know, everybody would want to do that, wouldn't they?
100%. Today,
Yeah.
I went to an event and someone was showing me the first Facebook website, in fact,
Oh,
which was
yes.
very interesting. It looked completely different than you could imagine. They showed me the first Amazon website, completely different. So
Oh, I've
the
seen that, yeah.
iteration is really mind blowing. And yeah, we were been working for a long time on UI UX, had multiple marketing companies and consultants, and still trying to figure out how the reality, which is old and non-digital, to transform this into a digital platform without, let's say, missing the logic. But if it comes to, let's say, which industry are you associated with, this is already a challenge because this industry category is is based on a standard which has been initiated in 2008. It's called the NACE list, NACE,
Okay.
and any startup, yeah, would need to kind of align themselves with this standard. But nowadays, you're not only one industry, you belong and you actually act in many different industries. And that's what we're trying to kind of build up with Turnbull. So it is a challenge for all of us, and then we're trying to make it as intuitive as possible. But of course, there's still feedback from the users; they don't understand it, and we're trying to improve it day by day.
Yeah, well, that's it really. I suppose it's just, you know, it's all in the detail, isn't it?
100%, yes.
And, you know, anybody that is actually involved in this process of taking a tech product, particularly a new tech product, and just making it better and better and better. I know how even just from my work on funnels and things like that, how those technical processes can be very painstaking. I mean, you have to have staying power, don't you?
Yes, I wouldn't do it, yeah, if I just really believe in the power of AI and the
Mhm.
power of our platform. Otherwise, it is a grind, and I've done it many, many times, and it is the good and the bad. I still enjoy it very much. Yeah, it drives me every day, and it motivates me and my team. But of course, there's some other days where you're saying, "Why? Yeah, this really doesn't work. I don't know how to solve this problem. Can someone help me?" And that's exactly what happens every day on Turnbull.
Yeah, and I know that kind of feeling where it's like, "I just can't go any further with this. Who can help me?" And then you look around, it's like, "Oh, nobody. I've got I've got to crack this problem myself. Oh, another day like that." Yeah, so that's I suppose that's it's all part of it really, isn't it?
Yes, very
Yeah,
much so.
yeah,
And you need to enjoy it. You need to embrace it.
you
It's
do.
part of your life. And if it's not part of your life, then you better become an employee because it is really hard. It's strengthening. It's a strain on everything. It's a strain on family. It's a strain on colleagues. It's a strain on everything. And you just need to grind it through. And then at the same time, you have success stories. Yeah, little success stories. Today, you signed up your first paying customer, and you can celebrate it. Tomorrow, yeah, you have a breakthrough in the solving your technical problem, and that's the excitement of any startup, which excites me as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and I just I'm personally in love with entrepreneurship as well. I mean, I could never ever go back to being employed, even though I was employed for, a long time, like 20 years or something like that. So, I mean, I managed to kind of stick it out, but I just think, that joy really of sort of having the freedom, to choose and the freedom to pursue your passion and actually make it something that other people want and they're willing to pay for. I think that is the thing really that I just love, just think every successful business is driven by passion, really, or it should be. That's I think the most successful businesses in the world, they have that flame behind them, don't they?
Yes, for sure. I mean, I used to be an athlete, and yeah, coming from the sports side, I have this passion and I have this drive, and I enjoy it every day.
Yeah. So Carl, you've got a lot of experience across different types of tech startups. So you mentioned fintech. Sorry, could you just go through that list again? So,
Yeah. So actually, one of my first startups was an AI startup.
uh-huh.
We built the first recommendation engine, which we all know now from Spotify and from Apple and Netflix. So in 2011, we built this platform already, and we were outperforming pretty much everyone on in the market.
Mhm.
And since then, I've got fascinated about AI. But later, I got into fintech. I bought a license and I created a fintech company. And I've also, of course, spent a lot of time in content. My background is sports and media. So I built various video streaming platforms, one in the United States, which now became Pluto TV or Paramount, and then I built another one in Southeast Asia, which was even based on blockchain back in those good old days.
Mhm.
And I'm fascinated by all those technologies, but also see how, let's say, blockchain, for example, there's blockchain technology and there's crypto. And yeah, as we all realize now, painfully, um, there's a long way to go with blockchain, but crypto is something which is completely different. And I think the dynamism of those technologies is always something which you also need to be careful with, and I think really judging for yourself, is this something you want to be involved with? And for me, for example, clearly crypto is really nothing I want to be involved with. And that's the reason why I'm really focusing now on deep tech companies like health tech, like climate tech, like
Yeah.
AI, reg tech, fintech.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, that's really interesting. I mean, there's just so many different applications really, aren't there? And so, yeah. Okay. So Carl, so tell us, when we talked, you said that you have teams all over the world. So love you to tell our viewers and listeners where all your teams are located, because then we can have a little chat about this remote working and all of
Yeah,
that, and how you actually manage all of that.
100%. We started in with our team in Kuala Lumpur and Singapore, and then we hired, particularly for the AI side, Iranians. They are very, very strong. They majored in AI, and they built the groundwork. Then we have, particularly for the data side, which needs to be rock solid, German developers. And then at the end, we also have some in Toronto. So across the whole world, in any time zone, we have a team. And most of my team members, I never met, in fact.
Yeah. So how do you manage to knit that all together? I'm sure that there will be some people thinking, "Oh my god, there are people all over the world. Do they know each other? Do they know about each other? Do you ever have a virtual party?" I mean, yeah. So how do you actually manage the whole process?
Well, it starts with the evaluation. First and foremost, you need to understand the tech stack. What do you need? And then
Mhm.
you take a look which area, particularly country or company, is the best for your efforts. Yeah, if you're building an AI company, for example, you don't choose certain territories. Once you are aware, let's say video technology is good here, the other technology is better there. um, this comes down now to, is this company which I'm choosing the right company?
Mhm.
And you want to know if this company really exists. Is it a good company? Is this verified? And so on. But it doesn't stop there, because at the end, you need to come up with an agreement. You need to come up with a service level agreement. And that's where I think particularly young founders really fall short many, many times, because the time based management system from those IT service providers usually doesn't match with what you're trying to achieve. To give an idea, and there's cultural differences as well. If you engage an Indian company, for example, they always say, yes, yes, we're going to do it, we can do it. Then they build something which you as a founder don't like. Then you're saying, can you please build it in the left way and then the right way? And they always do exactly what you're telling them. So if you don't know exactly the end goal, yeah, you pivot left and right with them. And at the end, you pay for the bill. So
Yes.
it is absolutely critical and very challenging, because you need to have a vision, and then this vision needs to be translated into technology. And you break it down and you go backwards from the vision. Yeah, what kind of technology do I need at which stage? And then you need to define the right service level agreements. Otherwise, you divert from this path, and then this costs a lot of money, a lot of time, and that's why many startups in fact fail.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's really interesting, and I was thinking about a kind of real world analogy that, if you're building a house and you don't have any plans, and the builders come and say, "Well, what do you want? You want a bathroom over there? Yeah,
Right,
let's try the bathroom over there. Okay, we'll put the bathroom over there. Ah, you know what? I really think that the bathroom should have gone over there. Let's move the bathroom over there." It's that kind of thing, really, isn't it?
exactly. And if you don't have the pipes, yeah, you need to remove the pipes and move them
Yep.
again. And that's the same in technology. If
Mhm.
you start with something and then you need to remove the pipes. So for our business, for example, in Turnbull, data is the pipe. And
Yeah.
we started with one vendor and realized their business model really doesn't work with our business model. So we ripped out the heart, which is all the company data, and replaced it by someone else. So it was one of the really major shifts which we had to do, but we did it for the good. So our new partner or new partners actually built a better platform, and it serves us better.
Yeah. I mean, do you find it's difficult? How do you actually assess the, quality of the talent that you're engaging? Do you give them, like, trial tasks to do or trial projects, or do you just steam in and let them have a go, or what?
No, it's very, very challenging, and I'm not a technology person. I'm applied. I know a little bit about technology, but at the end, I leave this to our technology expert within our company.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of tools out there now which allows you to check and to cross check, and I think that's the best you can do. But you will never be able to kind of find the right person and the right developer immediately. So you need to onboard them. It's going to take time, and many times you figure out this is not the right person, so you had to let them go. That's the reality. Yeah, until you find the best people. At the end, any startup lives and dies with the first 10 people and the structures which are built by them. And that's a very, very hard challenge to overcome. Uh, I have now relationships for many years, and this trusted relationship which I have built up allows me to find, hopefully, the right people, the right 10 people to start with. But then scaling it to 20, 30 people is a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, I think it is. I don't know, I remember when I was running my, design agency, and we had about 12 employees in the beginning, and when we sold it, this is a couple of years later, we'd scaled to 40, and
Mhm.
I knew this was a completely different animal by that time. It was a very different type of business where, it was much more, well, you just had to be a lot more structured, a lot more organized.
Yeah.
It had to be a lot more systemized. It was a bit chaotic, to be honest, in the beginning, but I think that is the character of a lot of startups, really, isn't it? The corners are cut, and, everybody's kind of just moving on adrenaline and having fun and sort of all the excitement of it. And it definitely that goes into a different phase, doesn't it? When you've consolidated, you've got some revenue and you're scaling. It's a real different feeling, isn't it?
But even before, to find the product market fit is already a huge challenge, right? So which
Yes.
team is the right team to get quickly as
Yeah.
possible, cheap as possible to product market fit?
Yeah.
And that's always the challenge. And I think that's the art, to find the people which you can afford without having raised so much money, getting to the product market fit. And then once you got the product market fit, you probably go for another team, because then it's a completely different company. Yeah, you need to look at scalability. You look at other aspects which do not count. As everyone says, when you build a startup, you charge it while it's already taken off, right? And that's how it works. Yeah, and you need to kind of balance it out and making sure you don't crash.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So Carl, you've been an investor as well. So let's just talk about your investment experience, if you don't mind, because obviously a lot of tech businesses, they need to raise finance because it's not always that easy, is it, to kind of bootstrap something that is, requires a lot of people really to do all that original coding and work. So investment and tech, they kind of go hand in hand. So when did your investment journey start, and why did you become an investor yourself?
I think it's always the same. If you believe in something, then you put your money behind it,
Mm.
and your word, and your expertise and everything else. But being a founder myself and having raised money myself, it should be very clear that this is a very difficult process. And the way I handle it now is, I better say quick no than long potential yes. And it is something which young founders always struggle with, because they believe a maybe is maybe a yes, but there is no honesty really in this market. They have various kind of yeah, let's say, motives behind their investment strategy, being an angel or being a venture capitalist or being a private equity company. And What I really do is I say, look, I have no idea about this topic. Yeah, you can talk about it. I have no idea. I believe you, and I'm sure you will be successful. But I only involve when I have something which I can contribute. So it is definitely a media where I have a few startups, and there's definitely some other areas where I believe I can add value, not only financially but also with my advice.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because then in a way you're jumping on board and helping steer the ship, right?
Pretty much, you get deeply
Yeah.
involved, and that's the fun part. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what kind of, businesses have you, invested in then, Carl? Give us a flavor for something that excited you enough for you to want to jump in as an investor.
It's mainly really in the media side, because that's where my background is. So we have startups from sports leagues, which we're reinventing sports and gaming. For example, in the United States, we're reinventing social e-commerce with another company. Anything which is related to content, and particularly all those media platforms out there where I have access to, where I understand content, where I understand everything from my background, is where I think I can add value. And by opening the doors, it's critical. I mean, when I had my video streaming startup, Eversport, for example, I brought in as an advisor and investor someone from Fox. And
Yeah.
Fox, yeah, he brought me Fox on a golden platter, and it took us still to go through all the contractual issues, about 9 months. But at the end, to have Fox as a young startup as a client brought the whole company to a valuation which I never thought it would have. So one choice of advisor and investor gave us pretty much the platform for any other broadcaster to follow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you only really need one, don't you? Because in a way, people love to we're sort of pack animals. We're social animals, aren't we? All of us, so we tend to follow where others tread, right? So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Okay. So Carl, let's go back to this issue of, the dating analogy, the Tinder analogy and so on. So Turnbull is a business matching platform, right? So it actually brings people together. It facilitates trade, as we said right at the very beginning. So when you we all get pitched on LinkedIn, right? And it says, "Oh, hello, let me get straight to the point. I do this and I do that, and would you like to have a phone call with me or something like that?" But there is no context for it other than what they've said about themselves, right? And I think one of the things that interested me about Turnbull is that some of the checks are done, aren't they? So that you're not just it's a bit like, there's some qualification, isn't there? So, with Tinder, of course, I mean, we're talking about Tinder a lot, but anyway, with Tinder, there is no qualification, right? Anybody can put themselves up on that, app, and that's of course, we hear some horror stories and so on, but, the whole idea of Turnbull is that you don't have those business horror stories. You don't have those fraudsters who are just gonna, take your money and run off into the sunset with it. So, would love to hear how you managed to stop that from happening.
Absolutely. It is all about verification, and we know those systems, KYC, know your customer, from fintech, and know your business, KYB. At the end, you start with communication on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, for example, and you see a profile: chief disruption officer, chief visionary officer, chief development officer, whatever, right? First and foremost, if you're do a B2B sales, you need to sign a contract at the end. Every single business transaction ends with a contract. So you need
Mhm.
to make sure at some point, ideally at the beginning, you have the person who can sign a contract. LinkedIn
Yeah.
doesn't deliver this information, right? You
No.
believe, you talk, and then someone said, well, I cannot sign this contract. I actually need to find someone else. And then the whole thing starts again. That's why sales cycles in business to business are very, very long.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number
True.
two is you want to know whether this company even exists or is in liquidation or whatever, right? And that's why we teamed up with Deloitte, and Deloitte is developing our KYB and our data verification structure tremendously. They are available right now in 217 jurisdictions around the world, and we've been working very, very closely with them. Our counterpart at Deloitte is the global head of financial crime, and he is building together with us this next level of a standard of trust and transparency, which will be called Turnbull Trust by Deloitte, which goes way beyond paying $8 for a blue check mark, which you can find on on Twitter. It is a very detailed audit, and you can do this with your own company on Turnbull, or you can do this with other companies. This is a paid service which we offer, and it allows you to get a report in detail about the company, about the person in charge, the authorized representatives, and about anything, even now soon about the financials. And I think this is very important because now you can either build the trust by, let's say, going on a plane, flying over to Indonesia, India, or wherever the supplier or customer sits. You're going to meet them, and you spend a lot of money, and you spend a lot of carbon dioxide, and so on and so on, and you still don't know whether this is the right partner. On Turnbull, yeah, you can do a lot of homework yourself until you reach the point where you're saying, look, I think this all makes sense. Let's meet up in the middle and have a handshake, and the deal is done.
Yeah, which is just it's absolutely phenomenal. So to have a global head of financial crime from one of the biggest accountancy practices in the world actually providing this service, which means that whatever company you are looking at, wherever they are in the world, that these checks can be done, that is absolutely phenomenal. It really, really is. Because that's the thing that I think holds a lot of people back from doing trade globally, because particularly if it involves large sums of money, because they're scared, aren't they, that the money's just going to somehow kind of disappear, and that obviously there's corruption in other parts of the world that is perhaps at a level that's higher than our own. And so I know that obviously every business carries some risk, every financial transaction carries some risk, but the whole idea is to minimize it, isn't it, as much as possible. So when you told me about that, I thought that is just amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And corruption and trust and mistrust is all around us. So in order to counter this one as well, we're sitting on our own private cloud. So our own communication infrastructure, we have instant messenger like WhatsApp, we have a video streaming infrastructure like Zoom.
Yeah.
All this data belongs to you as a company because we are sitting on our own private cloud. So we take this extra effort and the extra money to make sure this is really a safe and trustworthy platform.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And so I mean, I just love it, and I would like to say for the record that I'm on it. I've tried it. Carl's taken me through it with one of his partners, and I think it's really got so much potential. I am so excited about it, and I can't wait for people that I know to get on it as well. So Carl, you have a special offer, don't you, tonight for
I do.
today? Yeah, for our audience. So would you
Of
like
course.
to reveal it?
100%. It's usually we have a 60-day free trial for anyone who will sign up now with this link, which Jane will provide. We will offer extra 30 days free access, so 90 days free access for you, which allows you to fill in your profile, to connect with people and talk with people and get recommendations hopefully helping you to grow and scale your business.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a fantastic offer. And so 90-day free trial, and really having been in there and completed all the steps myself, I have to say it is no harder than filling out any social media, populating any social media platform with your details. So, if you've created a profile on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, it's no harder than that. It just takes a little bit of time really to put all the information in there. But once it's done, it's done. And then the AI starts to work its magic. And that is the thing that is really exciting. So it's really going to transform B2B transactions. And it's just great for anybody who is a service provider in the B2B space. I think it's really perfect. So I love it, and I can't wait to, use it more really, Carl. So, thank you so much for joining us. It's been such a great interview, and I've really, really enjoyed speaking to you.
Thank you very much for having me, Jane. It was a pleasure, and thanks for supporting Turnbull, because that's at the end. Yeah, we building a network, and all the first steps, the first early adopters are always the hardest to get. So I very, very much appreciate your support and all the support of our other partners. This gets us to the point where the AI finally can do really good recommendations. And the more we're going to get information and engagement from our users, the better we can serve them.
Absolutely, and the faster it's going to grow, and the faster it grows, the more powerful it's going to get, and the more potential it's going to fulfill. So jump on in there. That's my recommendation, everybody. So get going, Turnbull. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carl. See you
Thanks.
soon.
You.